Who are you?
Ok, các bạn ơi, mình tên là Mitchel, sống ở Việt Nam lâu quá. No, I'll speak English. I would just tell you that if you're coming to the north, intend to live here for a long time. It's a lot easier if you learn the language. Look, this is the most Vietnamese thing I can do. If you come to Vietnam, you want to look like you've eaten it before.
rất là vui vẻ, rất là lịch sự.
I speak Vietnamese very happily. In Vietnamese, we have like a term "cha cho," which means young buffalo, which is kind of like reckless young person style. So this is like a chua.
Was it a huge culture shock for you, moving specifically to this neighborhood?
Area doesn't cater towards Westerners, I guess you would say.
Hey, what's up, guys? Back in Vietnam here. It's my friend Mitchell.
Yo, hey.
What's up, man? We're just driving through an alley today. I'm here in Hanoi. Did I mention that? We are going to be covering an amazing story today about my good friend. We've been talking online for years, literally years, since like 2018. And we just got a chance to connect for the first time, and he's got a super interesting story about why he moved to Vietnam. And yeah, I feel like this country has been attracting some really interesting people, and Mitchell is nothing short of that. So I really want to cover that story. So right now we're driving off to a lake that has a plane in it. You're such a champ for carrying my fat ass on the back of your bike, I'll be honest. Can't be too comfortable on the back. Oh, here we are.
Yeah, I thought we'd get coffee and talk a little bit about the beginning of where I started.
Yeah. And then I love it. So casual. There's just a freaking plane from the war in this little lake.
They'll have black coffee, milk coffee.
I don't think I can handle Vietnamese coffee. I get heart palpitations.
Okay.
I'll just get a drink. I'll just sip some drink.
Cho em một cà phê đen đá không đường. And what do you want?
Actually, could you tell me if I can get the coconut coffee with half the amount of coffee?
Bạn em muốn cà phê cốt dừa. Có. Nhưng mà bạn em muốn hơi cà phê. Nhưng mà ít cà phê. Ít cà phê. Bởi vì không uống nhiều cà phê Việt Nam. Cà phê Việt Nam rất mạnh. Okay. Không cần quite đây. So from my memory, this is a B-52 from Operation Rolling Thunder. And it was shot down. I want to say it was like 72 or 71. It might have been 69. And they've essentially just left the wreckage here, just to deteriorate. There's like a little historical plaque somewhere around here, but they haven't like made it a museum or anything like
That's
that.
crazy. B-52 is a bomber. No, it's like one of those really big planes.
Yeah, it's one of the huge American super.
That's so crazy, and it's just chilling here in some neighborhood.
Yeah.
In Hanoi, and it's not like a tourist site.
No. You can tell like there's no like.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's just us. It's a bunch of locals. It's pretty cool. We started off this video kind of hectic, but I gotta ask you because I mean I know some of the reasons, but I'm sure the viewers watching this video are gonna be like, why the hell does this guy speak Vietnamese?
Okay, so
Who are you?
Okay, các bạn ơi, mình tên là Mitchel, sống ở Việt Nam lâu quá. No, I'll speak English. So I've been living in Vietnam for six years. I'm married. I've been studying Vietnamese for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. Mostly self-taught, but I've had a lot of friends help me with it. We'll meet some of those friends today, actually, that were pretty pivotal to teaching me Vietnamese. And to kind of get back to the overall reason that I speak Vietnamese, it's because if you do not speak Vietnamese as a foreigner, at least in northern Vietnam, life here can be very difficult. The decision-making process that I had for choosing Hanoi versus Saigon was that I wanted to like live in a part of the country that would encourage me to learn the language. And that's kind of why I stayed here.
Do you feel like, I mean, I've been traveling across Vietnam the last 3 weeks. I have probably 0% like as much knowledge on this country as you do, but like, do you feel like people up here have way more pride in being Vietnamese? And I felt like down south it was more like an international sort of, it felt like kind of open to the whole world, and up here it feels a little bit more like this is Vietnam, like this is the real Vietnam.
For better or for worse, yes. There's a lot of pride, but also in the north, because the north is where the Viet Cong movement was based. This is where the kind of headquarters of the north were. A lot of the war was fought for independence from foreign influence, and a lot of the war was fought for like independence from colonial powers. So becoming like anti-Western or like less Westernized is something that the North kind of was fighting for. So
Right.
it's very natural that the North would be a little bit, maybe a little bit more kind of authentic, non-Westernized Vietnam. I
Yeah.
don't know if I would say like friendly or not friendly towards foreign.
No, it's just different, you know?
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different feeling. I don't feel like any Vietnamese people across the country have been any less friendly anywhere I've been. They've been
Yeah.
extremely friendly and accommodating, but it's a different vibe up here for sure. And like, do you feel like living here that has conflicted with your life at all? Like that feeling of maybe being a little bit more like prideful and being Vietnamese and less open to international?
I would just tell you that if you're coming to the north and you intend to live here for a long time, it's a lot easier if you learn the language, because learning the language signifies a lot of other things about you, right? Whether or not you've assimilated with the culture, whether or not you understand kind of like the values and stuff like that. And in the north, they care about that more. In the south, it's much more like open to people from around the world. But it's something that you feel in the north for sure. What this is mostly is it's condensed milk, coconut cream, and ice blended. In fact, I might steal some of this from you because
Go for it.
I didn't get.
You're gonna make like an affogato,
Kinda,
right?
yeah.
Wow, this is dope. I had for the first time. I had egg coffee yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I only had it for the first time yesterday because I drank some. I drink cafe soda.
So that's just condensed milk coffee.
Yeah, in Saigon, and I thought I was gonna die in the middle. Coffee was so strong. I started getting like heart palpitations. I was like, oh my god, I don't think I could drink coffee in Vietnam.
That's just Arabica versus Robusta.
Right, Robusta. Wow, this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be delicious. I'm excited for this. Oh my god, it's like
Kind of like icy.
It's like an icy.
Yeah, it's like
We drink this in Israel all the time. This is like just a barad if any Israelis are watching. It's like it's like an iced coffee. This is what it is. Very typical style Israeli iced coffee. I love it.
So this area that we're in right now is an area of the city called Ba Ding. And Ba Ding is an area that has a pretty big like foreigner population, but this area doesn't cater towards Westerners, I guess you would say. And so it's kind of a hidden gem because price-wise it's cheaper than Westlake. It's got more character, at least in my opinion, than Westlake, just because Westlake is an area that has a lot of Westerners that have moved there, but a lot of the business and a lot of the kind of industry there is very very Western-centric, catering towards Westerners. Here, it's not like that.
Right.
It's much more like integrated, and I think maybe my choice to like end up living in this area is kind of it's kind of indicative of what my experience in this country has been.
It's so funny. You can literally see some dudes just fishing in the. I wouldn't imagine there'd be much fishing here, but I guess there are. That's crazy.
But this was the area that I got my first shared house in. Like, I stayed in the old quarter in the really touristy area for 2.5 weeks, just figuring out what I would need to like legally work here, where I should stay, etc. And from all of my like digging, this was the area that seemed like would have some English speakers and some restaurants I'd want to eat at without feeling like I had left Vietnam.
Was it you're from America, obviously from the United States, but like was it a huge culture shock for you moving specifically to this neighborhood? And like did you have to deal with having to commute like on a bike?
Yeah.
If you wanted to get around?
So my first, actually, it's interesting you bring that up. It's just kind of like you go to a new country and like you're kind of expected to just like assimilate with like the neighborhood and stuff like that. There were definitely shocking things that happened to me in this area though. Like really, really shocking.
Really?
Yeah.
Care to share with us? Or is it stuff that shouldn't be on YouTube?
I can talk about it in a way that won't get demonetized.
Okay.
So I was dating a girl that her father had started like a charity here, and she had come here to like work legally, like for her dad's like charity. And she was pretty, and she helped me get my like TOEFL certificate and helped me like kind of guide me with some of the stuff needed. And I was walking with her like one like late afternoon. It wasn't nighttime yet, and a guy just like randomly was riding through the neighborhood and grabbed one of her chesticles.
Really?
On a bike, yeah. And I remember like that was maybe one of the more shocking things that happened to me here. Not, and I don't want to say it's indicative of all Vietnamese men, but it was just kind of like the first thing I saw here of like, oh, like their country, their rules type of thing. Because that's after living here for a while, it's not the first time I've witnessed that happen. And that was a pretty startling wake-up call.
Wow. Count on you, Mitchell, to bring me to like the most peaceful, tranquil places in Hanoi.
For sure.
This is literally, this looks like a scene of a movie. It's beautiful.
We literally have like this. This feels very like motion picture, cinematic-esque.
This is actually amazing. It's like from all the hustle and bustle of the city, and there's just like a little courtyard here, super clean too.
For kids to play soccer. Da bom.
Is that soccer actually?
Da bom is like soccer.
Wow, I love it. Beautiful giant trees, and then is this a temple down here?
So this is like a chua, right? Deng Công Viet. It's like this is I believe this would be like Han Viet or like the Chinese characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about that, but I know that these are characters that would be either Mandarin or Han Viet. You can probably come in here. Yeah, super pretty, super peaceful, and you have stuff like this everywhere.
And it's so clean. It's so well taken care of.
Yes,
so pretty.
And you have like these are probably ancestors' names that lived as, or is this people that donated money? Don't like location to practice. I think that
Can I ask you a question? Maybe you know the answer to this. Nguyen? Nguyen?
Yeah.
This is like the most popular name in Vietnam.
It has to do, from my recollection, it has to do with like the last name of one of the emperors.
Okay, because
it has to do with like the Han, like the Vietnamese ruling dynasty was here, and it was someone's last name, and then that was kind of like passed down. Like most Vietnamese people here are King. King would be like the ethnic majority in Vietnam.
Mm. And this is a first name, Nguyen, or a last name?
Nguyen is the family name.
Okay,
so in Vietnamese it goes family name, middle name, first name.
Yeah, because almost all of the Vietnamese people I've met in my life, or like Vietnamese kids I went to high school with, and this might sound like a racist stereotype. I'm not trying to say it that way, but so many of them have had this last name that I've met, even in Miami growing up. Yeah, Tran is big too, but Nguyen is something I've heard my whole, and like as dumb American kids, we pronounce it Nguyen, something like that. You know, we would say it.
No, Nguyen.
Okay, but so yeah, we have come here for a reason.
So there's a reason that we've come here.
Yeah.
So after I had that brief stint in this area of Doi Can, I got a job teaching English. I was really unhappy there. I was working for a big Vietnamese school. Was living with a girlfriend. After her and I broke up, I moved back into kind of this area, and I moved back with the realization that if I didn't speak Vietnamese, being a single guy living here, not having a partner to count on me, I had to learn the language. Like I had to learn the language, and the only way I was going to learn that language was practice. And this is where I basically practiced Vietnamese 3 days a week for a year and a half, 2 years.
The barber shop.
The barber shop. KTI. Oh!
Hello.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello.
So this is my
Nice to
friend.
meet you. Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Bạn anh tên là Paul. Anh ấy là người Mỹ đi du lịch trong thế giới.
Oh, this is a super cool barber shop, actually. Yeah, this is really cool.
So my old house was like walking distance from here, and I had met KT before, and I needed a spot that I could come practice speaking Vietnamese, and I needed someone that would be willing to help me. So okay, em còn nhớ lần đầu tiên anh đến đây sau khi anh đã bận. Đúng không?
Nhưng em là giáo viên chính của anh.
So after I moved back to this area and I started studying with them, I made it very clear to anyone that I was dating that if I was going to date someone, like date a local person, we were going to communicate in this language here, which is pretty hard and difficult to find. But like a lot of Vietnamese men who have lived abroad, they have anecdotally told me when I've talked to them about like learning a language, and this was from one of my friend's uncles specifically, that the best classroom is the bedroom. I don't know if that's YouTube TOS.
No, it's fine.
But like that, like a lot of Vietnamese women I had met learned to speak English because they had foreign boyfriends, and so I thought that like, wow, you can speak English really, really well. That must be a awesome method and awesome motivation for learning a new language. Because that was most of the Vietnamese women I met here. They either dated a foreigner or they could speak English because of that. So I learned from them and when in Rome.
So run me through like how would you guys kick it? Like you just like finish your work or gym, just pop in,
So-
play some FIFA.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So I have, and I've had this list going on now for 4.5 years, and this is all of the Vietnamese words
Oh, nice.
that I'm learning.
I've got
right?
something like this in the Philippines where you just add a new word every time you learn it.
And I'd add it to the bottom of my list, right? He would teach me a new word. After I use that word in conversation, I would delete it up. Oh. After that, I would delete it off the list. And but usually I would end up using the new vocabulary words here. And like most of his friends kind of just like took me in and would help me practice.
And I think one of the things you told me the first day, and that's funny, connecting the environment that you learn Vietnamese in. I remember the first day we met, it was off camera. You told me that the Vietnamese that you speak, it's not like a well-studied Vietnamese. It's like street Vietnamese, right? It's like the type of Vietnamese that you can get along with people on the street.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Khi anh nói tiếng Việt, anh nói tiếng Việt lịch sự không?
Yeah.
I asked him if I speak Vietnamese like politely.
Yeah.
Go.
Cái Mitchel nói tiếng Việt thực sự rất là vui vẻ, rất là lịch sự.
He said that I speak Vietnamese very, very, very happily and very politely. Nhưng mà anh chỉ đã bắt đầu nói tiếng Việt lịch sự sau khi anh đọc chính nạp đúng không? Bởi vì trước khi anh nói tiếng Việt như trẻ trâu.
Một chút.
Một chút. Em đọc rồi. So I asked him like.
No, một chút.
Yeah. Okay. So I asked him after I asked him how I speak Vietnamese. He said I speak very funny, very like friendly, and very politely. But I asked, did I only start speaking Vietnamese politely after I met my wife? Because before I spoke in kind of like a young. In Vietnamese, we have like a term "trẻ trâu," which means young buffalo, which is kind of like reckless young person style. And he said that I speak Vietnamese kind of like that.
Like a young buffalo.
Yeah, before. But part of that just comes from like being in an environment like this where you're like yelling at people and
Yeah, you're like chilling in a barbershop
Yeah,
with your
you're-
boys, and you're just kind of. I mean, that gives you a type of. It's one of the things we were talking about the other day. Is like I'm so jealous, and it's something I'll probably never experience in Vietnam. But being able to connect with people like you in this barbershop on a personal level, where you're just kicking it as boys in a place, like that's a different type of connection.
chirping.
You're just chirping.
You're like
you have
like-
banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so it's weird. Okay. Bây giờ chúng mình đang nói chuyện về làm sao anh nói tiếng part of the first generation of Vietnamese to be born in Vietnam post normalization of relations with the United States. So I don't know if you guys know this, but in 1993 Vietnam opened, right? So tons of Vietnamese people that were living in an isolated country, right, began having more kids.
Yeah.
And began like to experience life here to an open Vietnam. And so he's part of the first generation to like get to live in a Vietnam that's like open to the Western world and trading. And he's been cutting hair now for like 8 years, 7 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Em cắt tóc bao lâu rồi?
Em cắt tóc được 7 năm rồi.
7 năm. So 7.5 years.
And so, what's the reason you became a barber? Like, what's the passion behind it?
Bạn này hỏi lý do em đã bắt đầu cắt tóc.
Đam mê thôi. Em tìm đến tóc là vì đam mê, tại vì em thích làm đẹp cho mọi người mà. Em thích tạo ra một sự mới mẻ cho mọi người.
He likes making people look good. And he started. Em bao nhiêu tuổi khi
Lúc đó em 20 tuổi.
Yeah, so he was 20 when he started, and he's 27 now.
Wow,
And I've known him since he was. Anh gặp em khi em 21.
No, 20.
20. I met him when he was 20 years old, and now he's married. And he went from not having his own barbershop to like owning his own business, and he makes pretty good money, like compared to most like Vietnamese people that didn't go to college.
Yeah, I mean, this is a incredible. I mean, it's like a really stylized barbershop. It's
He
super
also,
cool.
so one thing that's also incredible is he also has a business selling hair care products.
Oh,
He
that
recently started like selling stuff through TikTok, TikTok Live. Em vẫn bán sản phẩm qua TikTok. Yeah. So he's had other businesses of like selling hair care accessories, but he sells a couple different like hair products.
Yeah, let's give him a shout out for everything. You know,
He's one.
this is your product.
No, he's one of the only distributors
Uh-huh.
that does this in wholesale.
So this is like a hair clay. It's like a thing to hold your hair up, right?
Yeah. He's taken the money he's made from cutting hair to become more entrepreneurial and like. You know, I push him. When possible, like he used to do a lot of TikToks to increase his business, and like I think maybe anh nói chuyện với em về em không làm video,
Yeah.
nhưng mà chúng mình nói chuyện về can I. He had a lot of success doing like kind of viral videos on TikTok or like getting 10,000, 20,000 views on TikTok, which that increased like the customer base that we had coming here. He stopped that, or he like kind of slowed it down for like a little while, and like whenever I see that, like I kind of like try to give him a kick in the butt to like like continue doing that. And so I think it was like 8 or 9 months ago I told him to start doing more marketing for his business, and since then he started selling hair care products and like hair stuff through TikTok Live, TikTok Shop.
Well, it's dope. I definitely want to leave a link in the description
Yeah,
to
for
the
sure.
Google map, and people should definitely come check him out. I mean, this is one of those moments where I'm like, if I didn't meet you and make this connection and like come, I would never show up in a place like this.
Bro, Saturdays it's packed.
Yeah?
Saturdays you might wait like an hour and a half for a haircut, and he'll be cutting and he'll have someone else cutting.
Wow.
But now he's really, really well known in the city.
That's amazing. We'll definitely come check it out
Yeah.
if you guys need a haircut in Hanoi.
So,
If I knew, I would have come here.
what, like,
I don't know. My hair is thinning out at the top. I'm losing my hair, and so I've done this new haircut the last couple months where I just push it over, like push it to the side. But this one, I feel like the dimensions just look bad. Like it doesn't look very good. You know?
okay, so
Okay.
you can fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
When he's done, yeah,
Okay.
he'll fix it.
Cool. That'd be
Yeah.
dope. I don't know how much work is involved in fixing this atrocity.
Probably 5 minutes.
Okay. Because it really, objectively, you can look. It doesn't look good.
It just looks awkward.
Yeah, it looks very awkward. I feel like I look like a I'm not saying anything bad about lesbian women, but I feel like I look like a 40-year-old lesbian woman. That's what I feel like I look like, you know? It's not I feel like I look like Ellen DeGeneres, and it's not a look I'm going for.
You look a little butch.
Okay, so you're gonna fix my kind of bad haircut.
Yeah.
I love the confidence. It's like I can fix this pretty quickly.
Yes.
So let's see, because I really don't like this haircut I got the other day. I mean, same idea, kind of like short on the side and long on top, because I'm losing my hair. Yeah, I mean, honestly, bro, I trust you. Just do whatever you think looks good.
Bạn anh team em sẽ top rất đẹp.
Just whatever I have going on right now is unacceptable.
Health, and when I talk about like fitness and stuff like that, for me that was part of my choice to like really commit to that, right? Did
Bro talks.
Moshe tell you about our...
All right, so I'm all fixed up.
It looks a lot better.
Thanks so much, bro.
A lot better.
10 times better. Like it's like night and day difference. I'm not even gonna wear a hat. You saw I was wearing a hat. The last 3 videos I've shot, I wore a hat because I was like, I need to cut my hair because it's getting too long and it was hot. But the haircut I got was so bad, so this is way more fresh, way more nice. Mitchel, Michael, as I like to call you. I wanted to ask you. This might be a bit of an awkward question, but like, I don't have any or many Vietnamese friends that I can think of. Just the ones that I've met recently here on this travel to Vietnam. But like, what is it like to have Vietnamese friends? More specifically, like, I'm curious on like the relationship you have with a Vietnamese friend. You're super close with him. You were saying he was the best man at your wedding. You were the best. So that's like a real bond.
And like, I celebrated the Lunar New Year with his family.
And so that's like really, you guys are really tight. But like, is it the type of relationship where like you guys invite each other over to the house for dinner? You see each other often? Like, how does it actually work to be friends with a Vietnamese person in Hanoi?
So some of that has changed since he's gotten married and since I've gotten married. I remember when I told him that I was probably going to get married to my girlfriend. I think he was like the first person that I told. And I was one of the first friends that he shared that with. After I had chosen to get married, I had a conversation with him about how, because like, as I was saying before, like a lot of the way that I learned to speak the language was from dating a lot of different women, sometimes simultaneously, but not that that's like a positive or negative, red pill, blue, whatever, but like, you know, a lot of times I would bring the girls around him and his friends, just so that like his friends could like kind of suss out the girl, see whether or not she was like being truthful in how she would translate stuff to me. Because I had had an experience before where I was like seeing a girl, and that girl had spoken English incredibly well. She went to high school in America, and like she spoke like a native English speaker, right? But she once referred to me as "nó," which is Vietnamese for it. She referred to me as like an it around one of my male foreign friends that could speak Vietnamese. He was another foreigner that lived here for a while, spoke Vietnamese fluently. And like my friend was like, why would you refer to like the guy that you're seeing as it? It's kind of disrespectful. And like I talked to him about it, and like that was kind of when I chose to like end things with her, because like having someone kind of refer to you is disrespectful. But I would always bring girls around here to like have him help me suss them out and stuff. And then as we both got older, I shared with him that like I felt like it was the right time to get married, because I was kind of tired for like hunting, I guess, or tired for like looking, and that like every man has a time in their life that you need to kind of settle down and like stop that. And like if you feel like you've gotten beyond that point, it's like a maturity thing, right? And him and I talked about kind of the way I was feeling at the time about kind of making that transition into a monogamous like relationship. And I know that he understood that, because a few months later is when he met his future wife, right? And he kind of like, I felt like that was a moment that I could like kind of connect with him and share that.
Or like a deeper level of bonding as a friend.
Yeah, talking about like kind of as a man, you have to accept that there's going to be a time that you have the desire to kind of settle down. And so in that way, our relationship kind of matured, right? And like went to another level. But in general, like having a group of Vietnamese friends, sometimes they'll be kind of shy to like invite you out with their friends because they're not sure you're going to be able to like keep up on like a language thing.
Right.
Because even though he might be able to speak with me and understand like 75% of what I'm saying, and I can understand, you know, upwards of like 60 to 70% of like what he's saying, right? That doesn't mean that his friends would be able to. So a lot of times I would invite him out because most of my friends here were foreigners that could speak Vietnamese. So I could include my other friends with some of his friends and it wasn't like exclusionary.
Not to compare like a racial way, but like you can like, I'm not shocked to hear, but I'm like happy and amazed to hear that like he was the first person you shared that you were going to get married with and the, being the best man. But like, what about your relationships back in the States? How would you compare them to your friends in Vietnam? Like some consider him one of your closest friends, no? And like, how would you consider that relationship? Like if you had to compare it to friends in America or friends in the Western world?
So, for like the majority of stuff, friendship is just like kind of friendship, right? I would say that kind of transcends culture. When you have friends here and you're crossing cultural boundaries, you have a very unique and, in my opinion, beautiful opportunity to be able to share Western perspectives, right? And then translate them into a language that can be mutually understood. And they feel, a lot of times they feel the same way, right? So when I went to go celebrate the Lunar New Year with his family in his hometown of Nam Dang, he had the opportunity to like share that stuff with me, right? And that's something that you don't get with two people coming from the same culture necessarily, right? So there's an extra level of like being able to share things that is unique when you make friends that are from the country that you're choosing to live in.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you guys. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so now, so along my journey of coming and living in Vietnam, part of that had to do with also building a YouTube channel. And I wouldn't say that I'm super successful on YouTube. 27,000 subscribers is okay.
Well, let's just say anytime a new phone comes out, I'm pretty much watching his review, especially in the Pixel department.
Yeah. And we are going to do a tall reacting to a Pixel video on my channel. But at this point in time, like after I had finished the job I really hated, that was the time that I was able to buy more tech to review because I had a better job, more money, but I was really unhappy. And in the span of like 3 months, my YouTube channel went from like 5K subs to like 15K or 17K. And I had continued to do that after I left the previous job and I moved back into this area. Where we're headed, that's a large load.
A lot of stuff.
That's what she said. And so the area that we're going to now is kind of the area that I lived in after I got like kind of arrested under suspicion of being a spy. Maybe we'll do a separate video about that. But I had already had a pretty big YouTube channel at this point. I had shared a studio with a popular YouTuber here by the name of Alex D. He's a really interesting Vietnamese guy who's taught himself English and he's taught his daughter English as well. And he has like a bunch of YouTube videos about learning English for free, teaching yourself. But I moved into a YouTube studio with him and I moved into this really small apartment. And we're gonna show you guys the area. It's the middle of the city. Geographically, it's my favorite part of Hanoi to live in. So come with us, we're gonna go hop and show you guys the Dom Da district.
Let's go see it. Feels like a real city now. Just reminded me that this is like the first.
They don't know me by name here, but they know me here. Like you're like the third or fourth guest that I brought to eat here.
Is it you think because you're the white guy who speaks Vietnamese?
I know that's the reason.
Yeah.
Because like she also knows that I'm about to leave and move out of here.
Oh, you've talked to her about it already.
Yeah, of course.
This is called Bun Cha?
Bun Cha.
Bun Cha.
suất bạn em bạn cháu không ăn thịt lợn. Nhưng mà anh ấy là người YouTuber có kênh trên YouTube rất nổi tiếng.
Hello.
Ăn có một suất à?
Một suất chị ơi 2 chả cá. America.
So in this restaurant, I can't eat anything, right?
Everything here is made with pork.
Everything's made with pork.
You can try one. You can try a bite of mine.
YouTuber, yeah. Nice to meet you.
You can try a bite of mine if you want the special one.
It's a pork? No,
No pork. Okay.
no pork for me. But cool. I mean, I wanted to film a place that you said you really, really love this dish, huh?
I mean, like, I don't know if I would say that like I really love it. Like this is kind of the signature dish of Hanoi. It's like a dish that's we really only have in the north, and this is probably the best version of it that you would find in the city.
Buncha.
Yeah. So we have for all the non-Jews or Jews that don't keep kosher.
Or Muslims, we're inclusive.
Yeah.
For me, my channel, your channel.
Okay, I show you. You want me to put it in your name? Okay.
Okay, so they break down what this dish is. Okay. So this is pork belly, right? Pork belly or pork rib. And then these are like little pork meatballs. Cha. It's like ground pork with spices. And then it's wrapped in a leaf. The leaf is lot, so la is leaf, la lot, like a lot leaf. And they grill it. And the pork fat renders out, and it makes it crispy, right? So in fish sauce with a bunch of garlic and some chili. And I came to Vietnam kind of resenting all the pork that was in the Vietnamese cuisine. Because growing up I didn't eat pork. I don't usually eat pork in the house. But I wasn't gonna live here for a while and not indulge in some of like the more traditional food, especially the foods from this city, the capital. It's amazing.
Is all that broth? That's all fish sauce, or it's like an actual soupy?
It's like heavily flavored with fish sauce. It's not all fish sauce.
It's not all fish sauce.
It's probably got some pork broth in it.
So you use that's the bun, right?
Yeah. In fact, look, this is the most Vietnamese thing I can do.
Yeah, I've seen scissors happening a lot here.
The most Vietnamese thing that you can do, if you come to Vietnam and you get bún chả and you want to look like you've eaten it before, just ask them for scissors. Like you can just go like to that motion. They'll know what it means, and you cut up your noodles that way. And you get some of the herbs, right? Maybe some mint. Forgot what this other herb is, but vegetables, noodle, pork. It's a little spicy because of the garlic, a little spicy because of the chili. There is some sweetness from the fish sauce. And it's a very lightly flavored dish, but the flavors of it are so distinct, and you taste the charred meat, and it takes it to another level.
So it looks like a barbecued meat soup. It looks really, really good. Like you can see like the pieces of pork have been blackened a little bit. Yeah, it is tempting to try. I'm not going to, but it's tempting. Now I want to ask you, because when we came in here, all eyes were on you. Like everybody's it's a show.
Yeah, the woman that like runs this place knows that I'm moving out of here pretty soon.
Do you feel like being a foreigner who speaks Vietnamese, it's like that everywhere you go? Like, is it like a show every time you stop into a building, or? Because I just noticed, like, all eyes were on you when we walked in here. Everybody was looking at you. Everybody was interested, and you're speaking Vietnamese confidently and loudly. So like everybody's kind of like, oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
part of that has to do with where I learned to speak in the first place, and like chirping back and forth with my friends, right? And like being able to like talk shit or wanting to like chirp, right? Like tease back and forth, say stuff playful, banter, right? So that confidence is like pivotal to people wanting to talk to me. Hai cốc trà đá. Yeah, and that's kind of how it is. That's how your life is here. It's like if you're a foreigner that speaks the language, it's immediately a show, and that's in like the capital. Outside of the capital, it's times 50.
Right. Because people are just shocked. They're like, what is this guy? How and why?
If you're gonna see how big of a show it is, because like you think that's crazy here, out there where 99% of the foreigners that they get are travelers, bro. It's like that times 1,000.
How much does one of these cost you?
50K.
50K? Yeah, very cheap. And it's a pretty filling meal, no?
This is like a bigger serving. This is a bigger serving of food than you would I think can. Một suất và hai trà đá. So this restaurant that we just came back from, I think it's the best version of this dish in the city, if not one of them. But just this area of the city in general, as I get pelted with smoke, is fantastic for a couple of reasons. There's a bunch of universities around here, and that means that there is a lot of really, really good, affordable, authentic food that's open, that has like more available hours to open than like the rest of the city. And all of the food that you're gonna find here is like it's like made for Vietnamese people, but it's not like the cheapest that you would find. It's like average, middle class, really good Vietnamese food for Vietnamese people. And all of the restaurants on this street are like pretty good.
That's because this is like a college town. Like this is like the university part of town?
So it's close to universities. On the street over that way, it's like more college town stuff. This area is like more for families, but because there are like universities nearby, right? It means that a lot of these more family-oriented places are open for like a little bit later or open for different hours.
Cool beans. So now we're hopping off to...
Now
we're gonna tell a story
So,
of how you
yeah,
became a YouTuber.
Yeah. So the next street, the next area that we're headed to, would be kind of like the tech purchasing area, where you can find all kinds of electronics, and you'll see. It's like a bunch of electronics shops.
Cool.
And
I'm
it's
excited.
So in the last 2.5 years, Vietnam has developed so quickly that the number of cars in the city has like tripled in the last 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Tripled is insane. That must make things significantly more dangerous to drive around in too, no?
Dangerous? I don't know. Complicated? Yes, because this is not a city that was built with cars in mind.
Right.
And you can just see from how narrow some of these alleyways are.
So many narrow alleyways.
And when you add cars to the equation, it just doesn't lend itself for being a city that deals with traffic very well, even compared to Saigon.
Yeah.
Saigon, in general, has more traffic, but it was developed with cars in mind. Actually, yeah, right here on the street corner would be an interesting place.
I like that name, Galaxy Dedong.
Galaxy, Zidong.
Zidong, right? C.
Zidong is mobile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I first came to Vietnam, when I first came to Vietnam, I came and I was making travel vlogs, right? Like this is 2017. Travel vlogs really, really popular at the time, 2016, 2017. And then I started reviewing more of the gear, like in cell phones that I was using, because I found that was really interesting. I had one video reviewing Xiaomi's first truly wireless head earphones, and I was the first English speaker in the world to do a video on it. Because here in Vietnam, a lot of the China-only products will get imported here before their global release.
Because it's so close, it just shares the border. It shares the land border, yeah.
So a lot of the China-only, really, really cheap products, they get launched here. I got my hands on one of them. It blew up my YouTube channel, and I kind of continued to review Xiaomi products because they were so cheap, but also because at the time I was one of the only English speakers in the world to be like reviewing this stuff.
Maybe we could take a walk to see if we could find some.
Oh, we can go to a Xiaomi shop. There'll be a Xiaomi. Now there's a Xiaomi shop right over there. We can go into like one of the official Vietnam Xiaomi shops.
Cool, let's do it. Tofu and sugar?
It's like tofu.
Sweet tofu.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Bạn em muốn chảo phở, một chảo phở.
Is this, they yell tao pho, like that?
Yeah.
This is like the Filipino, they have the same thing in the Philippines, it's called taho. Oh, I love these. They have this in Che.
Yeah, this is different than Che. Che is different from chảo phở.
Oh, I'm excited for this. I actually wanted to try this. You said sweet tofu, I was like, I'm curious what this is. Yep, I know exactly what this is, yeah. They have the same thing in the Philippines. It's called taho.
Taho.
And they just drive around going, taho, like that. I take it by the way you're looking at it that you're not a big fan of this.
I don't know if I've had
Come on.
Here, I'll film.
You don't want to try?
I will try it, but you can.
I'm gonna mix it all up. So this is usually some sort of like soybean tofu type thing. Oh wow.
Is this just like the Philippines?
No, very different. This one tastes healthier than the Philippines version.
Less condensed milk?
Generally, everything in Vietnam that has been similar to the Philippines has been a little bit healthier than the Philippines. In the Philippines, it's the same thing, but it's only the white stuff and a shit ton of caramel on top, like a lot of sugar.
Sounds like diabetes.
And some like boba balls. And Che, they have a similar version in the Philippines called halo halo.
Halo halo.
Just super condensed milk, shaved ice, sugar, pudding, beans, like. But this is good.
Is it really sweet?
No, not at all.
I'll try it. I'll try it. Normally I don't like really, really sweet stuff.
Oh, she's putting that's condensed
No,
milk?
that's for coffee.
Oh, so she also sells coffee.
Yeah.
So it's called Tao Pho.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's alright. I kind of just want to drink it, to be honest. It's like a nice drink.
Yeah. Đúng. Trước thì anh mua Wi-Fi router. Em đi tiếp. Xiaomi Mi Pad 6.
Mi Pad 6.
Mi Pad 6.
Mi Pad 6.
Không phải Mi Pad. Mi Pad. Như iPad.
Mi Pad.
Mi Pad 6 Pro.
Mi Pad.
Pro.
Not Mi Pad.
Is it an unofficial?
So this is like a Xiaomi importer. So like a lot of the products they have here are imported they're imported from markets outside of Vietnam, and then they're resold here. So a lot of the China only products they have available here, and they have available here at like a really good price.
That's really cool. So like these are products that would not be able to be bought at like a Xiaomi store in
Like
Vietnam.
Yeah, like an official
one.
Yeah.
But yet they rock the logos Like as if it's kind of like an official store?
Uh,
But I guess it's an official importer is what you're saying.
yeah, like everything is imported legally.
Oh man, I feel like I'm in the way.
I mean, like, bro, if you're looking for headphones, they have like every single, like, they have all of the headphones from like all of the Xiaomi conglomerates, audio recorders, dash cams,
It's some nice bags.
eye massagers.
Not big
Yeah,
enough.
They have tons of stuff. I was able. It was this shop and then another really big shop. This shop more focuses on the home products. The other shop focuses more on like cell phones,
Like mobile and tech.
Yeah. With this like home products.
But I want to ask you, so you started as a travel YouTuber just like me.
Yeah.
Like Mitchel Millennial originally was it called Mitchel Millennial? from the
Yeah,
beginning?
yeah.
But it was originally a travel vlogger YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So when I actually found your channel, I didn't even know this. I didn't know this about you till right now. I found you when you were already doing the tech stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really cool because I love watching tech YouTubers.
Yeah.
And when I found out you were Jewish and we chatted a little bit, I was like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
my guy now to watch for tech.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so cool. So you transitioned into the tech world into becoming more of a mobile phone, tech, headphone YouTuber.
Yeah, so before I was doing videos about the gear I was using to travel with. So I already had a certain component of like gear reviews. And then moving into tech at that time, there was a lot of advancement in the world of mobile tech, mobile SoCs, truly wireless headphones in 2017, 18. And I hopped on that.
That's super cool. So this was your neighborhood for buying all that stuff, huh?
This was one of the areas, yeah. This is one of the areas I would go.
So would you just come around here and scan for new products, or you knew what you were looking for?
Online. I would search online.
You search online.
And then I would contact the different stores to see if they had it in stock. And it was either this one or another store. And then like in the last 2 or 3 years, most of these like bigger chain shops began importing.
Maybe we can walk. Yeah, like these types of stores.
No, but like a lot of these shops are just like charging cables, charging bricks,
Just like a mobile phone shop with like phone cases.
reselling used devices, screen protectors, stuff like that.
Cool.
Some fake, some authentic, some brought over the border in bulk from China. Yeah, pretty. It's like a pretty unique experience if you like Chinese domestic market products. Like there's JDM for cars, like CDM Chinese domestic market. You can find a lot of Chinese domestic market stuff here.